Today we are solving the IIMK-BMS 2025 paper. We'll look at the verbal ability section. Let's go. Choose the most appropriate meaning, phrasal verb for the sentence. So basically just looking at meanings and phrasal verbs or idioms and those kind of things. Standard question. What is the meaning of insipid? What does insipid mean? Well, insipid means something that is not very interesting, something that is very dull, boring, and not sharp. Okay. Flavorful and tasty would be the opposite of insipid. Lacking flavor or interest, dull. Yeah, this works. Looks like my answer. Exciting and exhilarating. Again, the antonym. Sincere and genuine is unrelated. So, number 2. Choose the most appropriate meaning, phrasal verb, same thing. What does abrogate mean? Abrogate is commonly, you would have heard this word in terms of kings and kingdoms. Abrogate is to leave your position. To affirm or confirm, no. To repeal or abolish or to officially revoke, exactly. Abrogation of the throne is a very common way of usage of this word. To establish and enforce, incorrect. To encourage and support is unrelated. 2 is my answer. What does truculent mean? Peaceful and friendly, easily persuaded and cooperative, timid and submissive. Okay. Of the 4 options, aggressively hostile and fierce is what truculent means. Okay. Timid is unrelated, easily persuaded and cooperative, peaceful and friendly, again not relevant. Aggressively hostile and fierce, so this would be the antonym and this would be the synonym. Okay. She cut the Gordian knot with a bold decision. A Gordian knot. Gordian knots, often you'll see this word or this phrase to describe when something is really difficult to do. Something is a real problem. Okay. She made the problem worse. Okay. No. Cut the Gordian knot. So Gordian knot is a really difficult problem. Cutting the Gordian knot therefore would mean to solve it. It took a long time to solve the puzzle. No. Solved a complex issue with a decisive move. With a bold decision. Complex issue. Cut. So cut the solved. Cut. Complex issue being the Gordian knot. Decisive move. So 3 is my answer. Asked others to help her decide, not relevant. The new CEO threw down the gauntlet in the first board meeting. Threw down the gauntlet is throwing down the gauntlet is to challenge people. Quit his job. Well, let's see if we can try to understand this from a slightly contextual perspective as well. Quit his job doesn't really make sense, right? The first board meeting, he's not going to quit his job. Very unlikely that happens. Issued a challenge. This looks like my answer. Dropped his files is too specific. Makes no sense. Apologized doesn't really, again, doesn't really work in terms of context wise. Issued a challenge. New CEO comes in, gives a challenge. Makes more sense, right? So even if I perhaps don't understand, this would be a great pick to go with. Okay. He always rides roughshod over other people's opinions. Again, let's try to maybe gather some of the context here. Roughshod over other people's opinions. Other people's opinions, somebody who's very considerate of other people's opinions. Generally, people don't talk like this about when somebody is very considerate. It's usually spoken about when they're not very considerate or kind to other people's opinions. So I would have gone with a negative connotation here, considering even though it is just a singular line, I would still have gone with a negative connotation plus the word rough. It's telling me it's probably in that domain, right? Ignores or disrespects them looks good. Ignoring other people's opinions, disrespecting other people's opinions Listens patiently, like I said. If it's rough short, I mean, doesn't really make sense that he's listening patiently, so I'll ignore that for now. Carefully analyzes, repeats their ideas. No. These three being positive and this being the only negative one also gives me that contrast. So it tells me that this is probably the answer. It fits really well, is the only negative term, the rest three are positive. So I would go with that. The only fly in the ointment was the broken microphone. Ointment is is something to heal, right? So it's a good thing. So this is positive. A fly, negative. What is happening? So it looks like ointment or medicine. So the only problem in the medicine is a broken microphone. So idiomatically, it looks like this is talking about a sticky situation with one particular problem only. The broken microphone in this case looks like the only problem in an otherwise really good scene. All right. So the solution to a problem, only fly being negative connotation, solution won't work. An unexpected gift. A broken microphone is not a gift, right? A minor flaw in an otherwise good situation. Minor flaw because flies are small, right? A broken microphone can be fixed, right? So this looks like my answer. Looks good. A funny distraction. Not really. I would have gone with 3. Minor flaw in an otherwise. So everything else was working. Only problem was a microphone. Fly being negative, ointment being positive, those two things combined. So from there, I have some idea, contextual understanding that 3 might be the best fit here. Okay. She knew she had to toe the line or face consequences. Toe the line. What is toe the line? To She had to do something here or face consequences. Face consequences in this case would be negative. All right. So do something that she probably does not want to do, or she will have to face consequences. So what this is the verb, phrasal verb that we're looking at. Toe the line. Draw attention doesn't really work. Draw attention or face consequences doesn't really work. Let's see. Let me see if I have a better one. Take a break or face consequences, again, that does not look like it. I think I'll have to find something. Break the rule or face consequences. Follow the rules strictly. Break the rule, then you definitely will be facing consequences, right? So you have to avoid the consequences. To avoid the consequences, I have to do something positive, which is follow the rules strictly. In this context, that would be positive, right? So follow the rules strictly is something that I'll have to do, or I will have to face something negative. So here I will have to do something positive. Otherwise, I will be facing some very negative consequences. So therefore, this looks like a good pick. Follow the rules strictly and avoid consequences. Don't follow the rules and face consequences. So therefore, in that context, 4 works pretty well. He still carries the torch for his high school crush. Okay, interesting. Still carries the torch. Carries the torch is the phrasal verb that we're looking at. Still carries the torch for his high school crush. So therefore, what looks like it is that he's still interested in his high school crush. He still likes his high school crush. That is the contextual understanding that I'm getting. So let's see if that is there. We'll just go with that. Wants revenge. I mean, too negative. Not really. I don't really have any kind of context to get there. Secretly admires or loves someone. Secretly is still in love with his high school crush. Makes a lot of sense. Sends gifts often. Not really. Grammatically doesn't work actually. He still gifts her high school crush, and that doesn't really work. Writes angry letters, again, just like revenge, and looks like a positive thing to me, a positive emotion. So A and D, 1 and 4 are out for those reasons, and sending gift it just simply doesn't work, in terms of contextual understanding. The government keeps kicking the can down the road. Kicking the can down the road. Just imagine what is happening. Kicking the can down the road, you're basically one place, then you kick it again, you kick it again. That's what happens, right? You kick a can, then you go back, you kick it further. You're not really doing anything. It's just, what are you doing? You're just passing the time. So the context, the government seems like it's passing the time. It's not really doing anything about something. Okay. Solving issues quickly looks quite the opposite, right? If there was avoiding hard decisions by delaying them, this makes a lot of sense. Making a strong decision, that won't be. Kicking the can is a very lazy, chill activity. It's not really very hard, strong decision. Taking the easy route, it's not really taking a path. You don't really take up the kicking the can down the road is just basically on to the next one. That's it. So it's not really choosing a path either. So 2 really makes sense. The teacher read the riot act to the noisy class. Okay. The class is noisy. How do you think the teacher is going to react? Something negative, right? Gave them extra homework. That doesn't solve the problem, right? So, not my best fit. Perhaps, maybe, but not the best fit. Praise them. Absolutely not. No chance. Scolded them firmly. Works. This works perfectly in this situation. Sang a poem is totally not going to be my pick. The teacher is likely to scold the class. Therefore, praising them doesn't fit. Singing a poem also doesn't fit. Giving them extra homework, that's one way of dealing with it, but it doesn't solve the immediate problem. This does, or this might. Okay, choose the most appropriate meaning. Okay, she managed to dash her fears during the presentation. If I had to fit something, conquer or overcome. Let's see if a synonym is there. Keep off. Okay, keep off her fears. Okay, back up her fears. To back up is to follow through with something. Not my answer. Put down her fears. Put down is to usually used for animals. She was put down. The dog was put down, which is to kill. Okay. Keep at bay. Keep her fears at bay. You can overcome them, you can conquer them, or you can suppress them also in that moment, right? So keep at bay, which is to suppress, makes a lot of sense. To keep off is to not go there, but keep at bay is to stop something. There's a difference. Not going there is like not reaching out for it, but it's this fear is something that it's not like you have to choose to go feel fearful. It's just there. So the only way you can avoid it is either you overcome it, or either you give in, or the third one is keep it at bay, keep it at a distance. They managed to dash the contract despite several obstacles. Managed to dash despite several obstacles. So despite problems, so therefore this word has to be positive, right? I have to find a positive word here. Pin down the contract. Okay. Pin down. Pin down is to hold something. To pin down, to put it in place. Write off the contract. Write off also doesn't work. Pull off. Yes. Pull off. To do something seemingly difficult, which was not expected. So that makes sense. Perfect sense. Pull off the contract despite several. So a lot of obstacles were there, but they still managed to pull off the win. Think through the contract. There's no thinking through. Okay. Choose the most appropriate meaning. Okay, it was his dash that led him to penury. Penury is poverty. Okay, so this word means poverty. It led him to poverty. Therefore, this has to be a word which probably has a lot of negative connotation. It was his flamboyance that led him flamboyant. Okay, you can be flamboyant and not uh, show your riches. You can be flamboyant without having riches. Flamboyance is a personality trait. To be flamboyant is to be very open, very outwardly. So this is not the best fit. I'll see if I can find. It was his arrogance that led him to penury. What we're looking at is, given the context that he has to go into poverty, we're looking at something where he's spending money, right? So arrogance, again, not the best use. Extravagance, this is perfect. Extravagance is large, living large. He lived extravagantly. He lived large. Bullions doesn't make sense. So therefore, 3 is my answer. He dashed himself a stiff drink before making his statement to the police officer. Poured. Drinks are poured, or fixed himself is also one way of saying it. He fixed himself a stiff drink. He poured himself a stiff drink. He threw himself a stiff drink. No. Poured is here. Poured is correct. Filled himself a stiff drink. Filled doesn't work when it comes to alcoholic drinks usually. Filled himself, no. Sipped himself, no. Poured is the way that we say. Poured himself a stiff drink. Had it not been for a quick thinking, the plan would descend into chaos. Tense. This is basically a tense question. Would descend? No. That's future tense. Would have descended. Yeah, that's right. Would have. This would have happened if something would not have been done. The plan had descended into chaos. This is incorrect. This is also incorrect. In had descended, basically that had happened. Will have descended. Incorrect. Okay, so would have descended. This would have happened if she had not shown her quick thinking. Question number 17. He speaks as if he dashed the theory himself, though he barely understands it. Invented. Can we write invented here? Invented or came up with the theory himself, though he barely understands it. What are we looking at? We're looking at 4 different iterations of saying the same thing. Basically, had, devised. So basically, devise is the word they want to use. They just would. It's actually find the right grammatical way of writing this. He speaks as if he had devised. This looks good. He would devise. That's in the future. So this is wrong. Will have devised. This is also future tense. It's wrong. He devised the theory himself. This is the right way to say it. This is used again informally. This is often used. Don't be confused. This is often used informally, but this is the right way to say it. Okay. Uses the past perfect tense. If I dash you were coming, I might have stayed. Okay. If I had known you were coming, again, past perfect tense looks good. If I had known you were coming, I might have stayed. If I know you were coming, well, that's for the future or for the current simple tense. Knew you were coming. Again, this is a very colloquial way of informal way of talking. It's also quite commonly used, but this is not the right. Not saying that this is wrong, but this is the right, exact, grammatically correct version. This, however, is also quite frequently informally used, but it has some complications. It uses the simple past tense and adds some complications. Because of that, we will go with the more right version that we have, which is option number 1. Achieving space flight enabled. So what we need to do here is we need to identify the words that will go in the. So we are again looking to identify the words from context and place them. Achieving spaceflight enabled humans to begin to explore the solar system and the rest of the solar system and the rest of the galaxy, universe, cosmos, all of those words can be used to understand the many objects and dash that are better observed. Objects and I mean this I'll just leave it as X, that are better observed from a space perspective and to use for human benefit the resources and attributes of the space environment. All of these activities, discovery, scientific understanding, and the dash of that understanding, the application or use to serve human purposes are elements of space exploration, something like that. Okay, let's see. First option, galaxy, universe, cosmos, configuration. So I can get rid of 4. Configuration cannot be. 1, 2, 3 are still open. Second one, and the rest of the objects and ideologies. Okay, ideologies. To understand the many objects and ideologies that are better. Ideology is not a great word to use, but I'll still keep it open. Phenomena. Phenomena is a good word because we are looking at a lot of physics, right? So phenomena is a good word to use. So we can keep this for now. Materials that are better observed. No, materials is not a good fit. But based on 2 itself, I will not eliminate anything for now. I'll just keep them open. All of these activities, discovery, scientific understanding, and the application, enormity of that understanding. So enormity is not a good fit. So based on 2 and 3, I will get rid of 1. Both ideologies and enormity are not going to work. All right. Between 2 and 3, phenomena, application. This is good. Phenomena is good. Application is good. And exploration is also good. So 2 looks like my answer, but I'll just stay with 3 for a moment. Materials was a problem. Principles and the principles of that understanding, this is absolutely wrong. So principles doesn't work in the third blank. Identification is also completely incorrect. So for these 2 reasons, 2 is the right option. Visually strong dash films of the 1920s are dash preserved and suffer from censorship cuts leading to the dash that they were primitive and barely watchable. Okay. Visually strong. Silent is a great way to say it, but we'll just keep hold because it doesn't really, so far we shouldn't really make any judgment as to what exactly is being said. Although they're really talking about films, so action-packed, classic don't really work because I doubt they're talking about specific things. But for now, out of those 4, I'll just stay with it. I will not make a choice yet. Are dash preserved? Barely preserved? Maybe okay. Barely preserved though is not a good way of saying it, right? Bad are poorly preserved. And not well preserved. That's what they're trying to say. So poorly preserved is badly, poorly. Okay, those 2 will work. Leading to the misconception or myth. Misconception. Right? Silent, poorly, misconception. This works well. Visually strong, silent films of the 1920s films, so you had silent films, you didn't have talkies, are poorly preserved and suffer from censorship cuts, leading to the misconception that they were primitive and barely watchable. These 3 fit perfectly. I can see that as the answer, therefore. Okay. Every day, more than 1 billion promotional messages are sent that are commercial and dash. Okay. Although dash have used more technology to stop this, dash find ways around it. Okay. A lot of promotional messages are being sent, commercial and educational. I seriously doubt that educational will work in this instance, right? It's just highly unlikely. Commercial and educational never really go together. Although firewalls have used more technology to stop this, hackers find ways around it. Educational rules it out. Hackers is good word I can use. Hackers is what they're looking at. Okay. Commercial and inescapable. That's not really defining the noun. It's telling me the quality. That's not what I want. I want to know what the noun is there. Governments, although governments have used more technology to stop this, advertisers is also a good way to use the last one. Advertisers find ways around it, but inescapable is not the right way, therefore I'll get rid of that. Send out a commercial and informative. Again, not really informative is not really the way to go, because educational and informative will fall in the same bracket. All the authorities have, promoters have found ways. Okay, so these two is still okay, we can make, but 3 doesn't look like a good fit to. Unsolicited, yeah, so unsolicited is basically I do not want, not wanted, forced. They are commercial and they are not wanted, nobody is asked for it. Although regulators, the which can involve the government, right? So regulators have used more technology to stop this. Spammers find a way around it. Perfect. Spammers is the perfect ways to. It's not hacking exactly. It's spamming actually. It's bombarding your phone with unsolicited messages. That's spamming, not hacking, to be precise. Okay, so 4 is the right option. The beauty of Dash is that it poses thought-provoking questions and inspires us to think deeply about Dash and life in general. Further, Dash about the ideas and perspectives outlined by different thinkers can help us to gain a better dash of the world we live in. Okay, I think we're just going to have to run through the options. The beauty of philosophy. Okay, see, does that work? Is that it poses thought-provoking questions, it does, and inspires us to think deeply about ourselves. Okay, that also works. And life in general, further pondering, thinking. So that is also perfect. Pondering, which means thinking about the ideas and perspectives outlined by different thinkers, can help us to gain a better understanding of the world we live in. We got lucky. The first one worked out. Let's just quickly take a look. The beauty of the beauty of linguistics is that it does not. Linguistics is a highly specified field of study of language. So 2 is out for that reason. History is that it poses thought-provoking questions deeply about animals. So no, history could have worked, but animals, no. Orthography is that it poses thought-provoking questions, think deeply about writing. Deeply about writing, okay, chalo, theek hai. And further, speaking about the speaking is incorrect. Thinking it has to be. Again, a better perspective is fine. So this is the right answer. His talk on heritage sites has picked up my interest. Okay, so this is incorrect. We need to slot the correct option. Brightened my interest. No, brightened is not the word that we use here. Adopted my interest. No, not the word that we use. Aroused and caught. Now, a lot of people may think of this caught my interest. It is caught my attention. Things catch your attention, not your interest. They arouse your interest. 2 is the right option. In the following sentences, the incorrect part of the sentence is underlined. Again, okay, so we have to do the same drill. If I had known that you needed to go to the airport yesterday, I could drive you there. Okay, this is incorrect. I would have driven you there would have been the right way to say it. Should have driven you there? No, there's no compulsion. Should drive you there? Again, the should part is incorrect. Would have driven you there, like I said, would have driven you there is the right way to say it. Would drive you there is a tense problem. So 4 is wrong. Each sentence has a pair of words. Okay, so we just need to identify which of those is correct, A or B. He stepped onto the platform clutching a wrinkled letter, holding a wrinkled letter. So clutching is okay. Clutching works. Crutching, crutches is what you have, like the Baisakhi is what they call. This is incorrect. As the train dissolved, trains don't dissolve, right? So it cannot be disappeared into the horizon. This is good. So far I have A and B. So I can rule out option 1 and option 2. I'm left with 3 and 4. The letter written in a squeaky hand. Squeaky is something that makes sound. Shaky hand would be a better fit. Told him his long lost brother was waiting in the city. Okay. With a deep breath, Arjun boarded the train to Kolkata, unsure of what awaited him. Unsure would be the right way, right? Not really certain about what's coming next. For years, Arjun believed his brother had died in the floods that struck their village. Floods strike. So A is okay there. So A triple B A, it was looks like, right? B B B. Yes, A triple B A. So 25, the answer is 4. She shipped the old key into the rusty lock, unsure if it would still turn. Shipped, you can't ship the lock, it has to be slipped it in. That's what we say. Okay. Her grandmother had always waned. Waned is to slowly deteriorate away. Powers wane, powers go away. Okay. Warned her never to enter the attic. Warned is correct. The wooden staircase creaked. Wooden staircase is creak. Creak is making that sound. The wood that makes that sound if it is really old and it's about to fall. So creak is correct. Crinkled is when something is crushed, right? So crinkled is that. So it's not correct. The door groaned open. Revealing groaned is correct. Groaned is making a sound again. Groaned. Gloomed is no. Gloomy is something that's sad. This is incorrect. Curiosity, stronger than fear, had drawn her back to the house after all these years. Stronger than curiosity was stronger than fear, so she went back. So A is correct. Slogger, and if you watch cricket, slogger is somebody who's a hard hitter, who hits without or generally speaking, it's somebody who's working really, really hard. Okay, that's what it means, not the word in this instance. So option 4 is the right option. B B A A A. Okay, question number 27. Can you identify the grammatically incorrect statement? We're looking for the grammatically incorrect statement. I would have helped you if you had asked. Looks good. No problem with that. Sorry. I would have helped you if you had asked. If you had asked, I would have helped you. This looks okay. She acts as if she were royalty. Yeah, that is also correct. A lot of people could possibly make this mistake of saying is royalty, but that's not correct. Were royalty is correct. She acts as if she were royalty. He demanded that she leaves immediately. Okay, this is incorrect. It should be demanded that she leave immediately, not leaves. Okay. By the time we got there, they had already gone. That is correct. So it's all correct. This is my answer because says that she leave immediately is the right way. Can you identify the grammatically incorrect statement? Okay. If he had been more careful, he wouldn't be in trouble now. Looks good. Nothing wrong with that. She had completed the assignment before the deadline. She had completed the assignment before the deadline also. Okay. Let's take a look at this. I wish I knew the answer yesterday. I wish I had known. I had known. Just a few questions earlier, we saw something similar, right? It looks very similar to that past present form, whereas technically it is colloquially used and used in general. We do use this kind of statement, but it is not precise, not right in terms of the grammar of it. She had completed the assignment before the deadline is correct. So again, not my answer. 3 is my answer because I had known. I wish I had known the answer yesterday. He talks as though nothing had happened. Is also fine. Can you identify the grammatically incorrect sentence? Okay, she suggested that he take a break. She suggested that he take a break. This looks okay. Sorry. I'd rather you came early tomorrow. Okay, this is also okay. I know it looks funny, but it is fine. I'd rather you came early tomorrow, not came early today, came early tomorrow. He told me that he will be late. He told me that he is going to be late instead. If only she had listened to the advice. Nothing wrong with 3 is my answer. Can you identify the grammatically incorrect statement? The movie starts at 7 p.m. so we leave at 6. Fair enough. We can do this. She had been working on the report all night. Okay. You're looking for the incorrect statement, right? She had been working on the report all night. Also looks fine. No sooner had he opened the door than it slammed shut. This is perfect. So 3 is, I can right away say it's not my option. By next month, they'll have been married for 25 years. That is also perfectly fine. The doubt is between 1 and 2. And if you ask me, neither of those are exactly wrong. The movie starts at 7 p.m. So we leave. Generally, the way people talk is they say by 6. By 6. But it's a matter of interpretation. It is usually the way it is said is by 6, but there's nothing wrong with specifying a very precise time. When we use at, we're looking at a very precise time, and you can say by 6. Saying by 6, the only other word is 6 p.m. Maybe you could have said 6 p.m. So the key here suggests that 1 is wrong, but it's not exactly wrong. You can say that, all right? But because the PM part is missing and generally by is the one that is used, we are going with it. She had been working on the report all night. Well, there is again nothing wrong with that. She was working on the report all night. Nothing wrong with that either. The tenses are fine. So eventually we go with 1 because of these 2 reasons. But honestly speaking, this one is quite error-free actually. Conclusion based on the premises. So we're looking at some syllogisms. Premise 1, all successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. All successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. Okay. Some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs. What is the conclusion? All SE are RT. So can I say some SE are not? Hold on. Okay, so we don't have a third element only. Okay, interesting. So I don't think it is required. We don't need to, in this instance, do any syllogistic understanding. We just need to look at the statement. All successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. Some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs. Okay, what are the options? What are conclusions I can draw? All risk takers are successful entrepreneurs. I don't think we can say that, can we? No. All successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. That doesn't mean all risk takers are successful entrepreneurs. We don't have. In fact, the second statement is making 1 incorrect. Premise 2 makes 1 incorrect. Why? There are some risk takers who are not successful entrepreneurs. So saying all risk takers are successful entrepreneurs will be wrong. Some successful entrepreneurs are not risk takers. That would prove premise 1 wrong. All successful entrepreneurs are risk takers. So some successful entrepreneurs not being risk takers cannot happen, because anybody who is a successful entrepreneur is a risk taker. So 1 and 2 are negating premises 2 and 1. Some risk takers may not be entrepreneurs. Okay, I'll come back to that. No risk taker is a successful entrepreneur. Well, that negates statement 1, right? Because all successful entrepreneurs are risk taker. So there are at least a lot of risk takers who are successful entrepreneurs. So 4 is negating premise 1. So this, what is this saying? Some risk takers may not be. Actually, here let's just add the successful part also. Some risk takers may not be successful entrepreneurs. It's just a reiteration of premise 2. What is it saying? Some risk takers are not successful entrepreneurs. Some risk takers may not be successful entrepreneurs. It's just the rewording of premise 2. If a plant gets sunlight, it will, plant will what? Grow. This plant did not grow. There is some plant which did not grow. The plant got sunlight. Well, if a plant gets sunlight, it grows, right? So that's what premise 1 says. So based on that, we cannot say that plant did not get sunlight. Didn't get sunlight because the plant didn't grow. It did not get sunlight. So this is incorrect. The plant did not get sunlight. All plants grow is just completely irrelevant. We are talking about one specific plant only. Sunlight is harmful. In fact, this is negating what? If a plant gets sunlight, it grows. This plant did not grow. It negates this. There is one plant at least that I know that did not grow. So all plants grow is incorrect. Sunlight is harmful. Harm is not present in the premise at all. So not present in the premise, not part of the argument. Is irrelevant to me. It is very important that you do not get ideas from outside. Harmful, for example, is not part of the argument. It is only the argument that we are concerned with. 2 is the right option. Only if the server is online will the website load. The website did not load. Okay. So for the website to load, if the website loads, the server has to be online, right? The website did not load is what it is saying. The server must be offline. The server is overloaded, the website crashed, the user entered the wrong URL. Like earlier, what I said, based on those facts, that if it is not part of the argument, not part of the premise, I can get rid of those options. Overloaded, not part of the argument, out. Crashed, website crashed. What is crashing? I don't know. It's not part of the argument. I can get rid of it. User entered the wrong URL. User, I don't know these two things. Not part of the argument. Whose user? What URL? I don't know. Therefore, 2, 3 and 4 can be eliminated. Now here's the thing about 1. This is not exactly conclusion. You cannot conclude this. The server must be offline is not a conclusion that can be made. Only if the server is online will the website load. That tells me that if the website has loaded, it means that the server is online, because only under a condition that the server being online will the website load. All right. So website load means I know server is online. I know that the server is online. That doesn't mean that the negation of website load is true. So if the website did not load, no conclusion can be made. We cannot make any conclusion because we don't know what else could cause the website to not load. All we know is that if the website is loaded, that the server has to be on. But I don't know what else can cause a website to not load. Therefore, I cannot draw this conclusion actually. But because the other three options are clearly incorrect, because they're very obviously incorrect, because they have elements which are not part of the premises. Therefore, I can mark one as my option under situation where there is no other better option. No philosophers are mathematicians. All logicians are philosophers. Okay. No P is M. All L is P. No P is M. So, what does that mean? Philosophers, mathematicians like this. There is not a single element in P that is part of M. Whereas, what about the second one? All of L is P. All of L is within P. So, what can I say? There is not a single L which can be M, right? All logicians are mathematicians? No. See, there's a gap. There's not anything here that can be here. No intersection. So, all logicians are mathematicians? No. No, zero elements. No logician is a mathematician. Exactly. Look at this. No intersection. So, no logician is a mathematician. Some philosophers are mathematicians. That goes against state premise 1. Because premise 1 says no philosophers are mathematicians. And all mathematicians are philosophers. That is also against premise 1. Goes against premise 1. Therefore, 2 is my option. 2 is the only conclusion that can be made.